Welcome to Kensington, Philadelphia, a city where drugs, crime, and violence have taken over. Police and ambulance sirens fill the air, and death is a part of every day. Sin has taken a hold of Kensington, but God has a different plan for these people. After release from prison, God called former boxer Buddy Osborne to create a boxing ministry for the youth of Kensington. The mission was to intervene with God's truth before they ended up in prison. Buddy grew up on these streets, where he saw the damage of sin firsthand. Rock Ministries started as a simple boxing program, but God soon moved through the walls to create a church. Through the church, ministries began to emerge. Rock Ministries has a strategy to reach Kensington. The goal is to place a missionary family on every block in the community. There are numerous homes in disarray, and with the help of missionaries, these buildings are transformed into safe homes where missionaries can live alongside the citizens and show what a real Christian family looks like.
Well, in the inner city, there's something we call abandos, and they're everywhere, and they are properties that are in disrepair that have basically been abandoned by their owner. And they end up being used for crime and for housing, quote unquote, for the drug addicts in the neighborhood. And they are really a plague for the neighbors. They're easily accessible to us, actually, because many of them, they've got absentee landlords. Many of them come available either in sheriff's sale or by some other means at low cost. And if we can acquire the properties and place a missionary family after renovation in these homes, then instead of a curse on the block, they become a blessing to the block.
If you have a family that has a house and that lives on the block, I mean, what takes place is this person, this family is living within the community, and they're getting to know the neighbors, and they're getting to know the kids, and they're getting to know just everybody on the block. And that's the strategy we want, to have a missionary family on each block. That will revolutionize this area. The first thing is to get the house. Now, if it's donated to us, or we buy it at sheriff's sale, the city donates it to us, or we purchase it. And then what we do is we pray. We pray actually for the laborers first, and then we pray for the materials. The whole idea, once we take possession of a home, and then we figure out what's the needs. What do we need to build? Does it need roofing? Does it need the electrical work? 9 times out of 10, we have to gut the house. And then what we do is, what our desire is to have many churches from different parts of the country, or have different parts of, wherever. We have folks coming from Virginia, from Ohio. It don't matter where you come from. Just bring your tool belt, because we have a ton of work to be done, and bring the gifts that God gave you.
So living in Kensington as a missionary family is, it's definitely different. I think it creates a different mindset for the people who know that we're here for that purpose. So they kind of come at us a little bit differently. I think people on the outside looking in see something that's different.
The mission field in Kensington is ready for workers, and there are opportunities for everyone to get involved. New homes are being purchased and renovated for families to move alongside the people. This is the most effective way to spread the gospel to the inner city.
The greatest supporters that we can ask for is folks who pray. And then if we can get a list to them of what our prayer needs are, that always works. Prayer always works. What would be beautiful about this whole thing is that churches would respond and support the mission families the same way they're supporting the third world country.
Almost anybody, anywhere can get involved. And so it can start, in a very small scale, where there's just someone who feels a call, and the church can circle around them and begin a very modest support. But then on the other end of the spectrum, when a family really has a confirmed call and are making plans to come, a church or others in the Christian community can support them as much as they would like. They can be regular supporters on a monthly basis to help them with their monthly finances. They could literally purchase a home and finance the renovation or a portion of it if that's something that they would choose to do. They could also send laborers to do missions team, as a missions team, to come for, let's say, a week. And those laborers can come, and as missionaries, they can help renovate the home, for example. So it's really kind of an A to Z program that's happening in a church, or an individual Christian can get involved in whatever level they're comfortable with.
Anybody that God places that desire on their heart to be involved in the ministry work in Kensington, in their own city, in their own neighborhood, it's really anybody that God calls to do that. Because there isn't anything special about me or my family to say like, oh, well, we're more qualified or we are more able than anybody else. It's just the fact that God has put a desire in our hearts to be here in Kensington, working with the ministry. And it doesn't even have to be that extreme. You know, it doesn't have to be that someone has to move down here to be involved. It's just being aware of the work that needs to be done.
There's so many people that are on the streets that just, they're by themselves. They might need a word of encouragement. If you love to just share the word with people, these people are open and they just need to hear about the Lord. So any gift that you have, the Lord definitely could use you here.
The best chance for getting the gospel to the highest number of people is through missionaries living throughout the neighborhood, coordinated by Central Church, where new converts can be discipled.
When The Rock thinks about a missionary program in the inner city, we have a pretty simple strategy, and that's to move in, fan out, evangelize, and disciple. And we believe that that's the most effective way to do it because we highly value missions teams that come in for a temporary period of time, for a short period of time. They do tremendous work and they really bless the community. But it's the long-term presence which ultimately wins a neighborhood and ultimately wins souls to Christ.
I grew up in these streets, in this neighborhood, really in the heart of Kensington, and just really getting counsel from the missionary families and listening to them and the good things they had to say to me, and really looking at life a different way. I'm actually living at the Rock and serving at the Rock. And I look at it as a new change and new chance at life, really, because out here without Christ, what can we be?
So when we have missionary families who move in, their sole goal is to move in with no end in sight. They are there, they are planted, and they're going to allow themselves to be used by the Lord in the long term. And if we can get missionary families strategically placed throughout a neighborhood, it means we've got these points of light throughout this very dark place. And that light continues to shine years on end. They reach all of their neighbors, they become friends with all their neighbors, they're waiting for the opportunities that God gives to open a door to witness to them. And then we have a central church sort of centered between all of these points of light to which the missionary families can direct the folks that they meet on the block. And those folks, God willing, will become Christian, will become saved, and then we can begin discipling them through the church. So we think that's an effective strategy. We've seen it work. We would love to see it grow and expand to reach many, many more people here in the inner city.
The end goal is not to see buildings revitalized or houses revitalized. The end goal is to see hearts renewed and transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the only way that's done is by people being bold and willing to go out and be the hands and feet for Christ.